Hello and welcome to the Monday edition of Real Talk with myself, Anele Mdoda, coming to you live on SABC 3 as we say goodbye to the bliss and comfort of the weekend, looking into the new week ahead. Land expropriation has been a burning topic in the past few weeks, with a lot of anxiety about how the government will go about giving land to black people without alienating white people. But this has been seen as a new dawn for many aspiring black emerging farmers. This evening, we're shining the spotlight on agribusiness and agripreneurship. It's the thing. We discuss how we can start a farming business. Two young females who've seen the opportunities in the agri sector are here. But before all of that, Phil is on standby with the latest entertainment news, stories that filled up our conversations throughout the day. Hello.
With over 500,000 trees and shrubs already planted and growing, it's easy to forget you are in the city. We don't just say, we do. It's the Stain City way.
Welcome back, Phil.
Yeah.
Phil, I'm so nervous about you today, Phil. All right.
We'll work through it, don't worry.
Okay. First one, Sowetan reported about Vusinova.
Yes, I mean, this is a story that's been going on since 2016. Remember in 2016, Vusinova was charged with fraud. He and his partner were charged with defrauding a guy named, I forgot his name here.
Something Kruger, isn't it?
Yes, something Kruger, Leon Kruger.
Leon Kruger, yes.
Leon has since passed, and his widow has taken over the case and pursuing it relentlessly. Now, here's an interesting thing. This case was withdrawn from court with conditions. Okay. So, yes, they haven't declared what those conditions were, but my speculation is that they'd come to an agreement that Vusi maybe would pay something. Okay. Now, the reason why on Friday Vusi was back in court is because the NPA decided to reinstate the case, simply because Vusi did not meet those conditions. Now, logic tells me that what condition could he have had that he could not meet? The only one that I could come up with was money.
That he can't pay
back.
Yeah,
that he possibly couldn't pay back.
So perhaps, and now we are totally speculating.
Yeah, it's just speculation. Yeah,
so
yes.
The guy passed away, so Vusi thought, there we go, good shot. I don't have to pay him back any longer.
Probably, I don't know. But yeah, the wife, Katerina, is pursuing the case, and now the case has been reinstated.
Do we know how the money was taken? Did he try to sell them a house that didn't come through?
No. At the time, he had invested in Vusi and Joe Safra's business. That business included building Vusi's career, building Vusi's brand. Remember there was a video with that Etta James video, the remake. That video was also part of that conversation about...
Who are these people that are giving people $1 million rand to
So there was an investment into investing into Vusinova's career before he joined Motherland Funk, when Joe Safra was still building him as an independent artist. Okay. There was an album released at some point in all of that.
And obviously Joe then never saw the returns.
Yes.
Hence he sued.
Leon, not Joe. Joe was Vusi's partner.
Okay.
So they are both involved in this. They are both being charged for the almost 830,000 rand that they need to return.
Do we have a comment from Vusi? What does he say?
We've got a comment from the lawyer who's saying that Vusi is cooperating. He's saying that Vusi is not guilty of the charges, and the case was postponed because Vusi had to make a statement. So I don't know why he couldn't just make the statement in court, but apparently it was postponed because he has to put a statement together. And yeah, so we don't know when the case is going back to court, but yeah, for now it's postponed until further notice.
Oh, that doesn't sound good. All right.
Yeah.
And then the one that has had everyone speaking.
Yes.
I mean, I looked at a newspaper today. I think it wasn't the Times. It was also Sowetan.
Look, all the Media 24 and Black Star media publications have run the story in different variations of it. But the story broke with Sunday World over the weekend.
Okay,
yes.
so Marlo is in Is it legal yet? I know that it's
not
a
legal.
spat.
Nobody has gone to court yet, but Mara did mention something about talking to her own lawyers, but nothing has been filed yet, so no papers have gone to the production company or the other way around.
So if I'm hearing about this for the first time, run me through it. What's going on?
Okay, so this is what happened. Back in 2017, Mara Low's contract was coming to an end because her storyline apparently was coming to an end.
On the program on Mzansi?
On the program on that other channel, Mzansi Magic. So that was the deal. But apparently because this is a story of he says and she says, okay? So the production company is saying, at the time, they said to Mara Low that, okay, fine, your storyline is coming to an end, so we have to end your long-term contract that you have. I think maybe it's like a one-year contract or whatever that you have. However, we're giving you an option for an extension, meaning she would not be any money on a monthly basis, but she will only earn money when she's working, when she's...
on call.
On call, yes, that's the term that they use. I didn't want to use that. She declined that, and this is something that she also agrees that she declined that offer.
Yeah.
Come to 2017 when she does an interview with the publication. With the publication, she says that she declined because she was being treated like trash.
Yeah.
And that's what sparked this whole thing. So now the issue is, what's trash? Because if the basis of this conversation is only on the termination of the contract, there is no issue there. Because if she was offered, listen, her contract was ending.
Yes.
The production company was just going to not pay her to stay home for 3 months. So they're ending this and they're saying that you're going to come back as a collector. We're going to pay you on being a collector.
Yeah.
She declines. They say, okay, fine. Since you are declining, we are releasing you.
Therefore, decline so that she can then go and get a job on another show.
Yes.
On a full-time basis.
Exactly. So with her declining, then Ferguson Film says, okay, fine. Since you're not going to take our callback offer, then we're saying to you, goodbye. Then we're severing ties with you. There's no issue there. But now, if she is saying to the papers that there's an issue of them treating them badly, she has to say why there is.
Okay,
but now,
I then read that she said they wanted to use a bit of a story that they found in her book, right? And then she declined that.
Yes.
And then they then went and gave that storyline to another actor.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because I've got an exclusive for Real Talk.
It's a Real Talk exclusive, okay?
I had a conversation with the production company because nobody was talking about what exactly from the book did they take, because I was very curious to know what is this storyline that is so, unique to the book that you guys had to steal from the book. And you'll be very surprised. Apparently there was a scene on the show that they were planning to shoot as part of the storyline of Maralo's character, Boy.
Yes.
Okay, so here's another character on set.
Yes.
In the scene. The character is spiking his own drink.
Yes.
But decides to leave the table, and then Maralo comes to the table and takes the spiked drink by mistake.
Also, the idols thing.
Yes, the idols thing.
Gareth spiked her drink with the
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? The production company says that they discussed that with Maralo, and Maralo said she was uncomfortable to play that role, and she declined to do it. And it was amicable and peaceful and whatever. And they said, okay, fine, we're not going to do it. And then they decided to get some other actress to do it. Okay, I understand her discomfort about that. But remember the last time when I said on a story that there's nothing new under the sun? Are we saying that every story that has to do with a spiked drink in South Africa cannot be told because Maralo has it in her book?
Oh, okay. I thought the story was really personal. For instance, like when her ex-husband said she must rub pie on her thighs because it's as good as that. I thought that's how personal
That's what I thought too.
A spiked drink, as
It's
much
a
as I love
common
Maralo
story,
and
yes.
we love her, she's brilliant, she's very talented, a spiked drink is not
A unique story to her,
unique and exclusive to her. All right.
Exactly.
But why are the Fergusons getting so much bad PR of late?
I'm going to be very honest I think it's because they're doing everything at that channel.
Okay.
Do you understand? There's no room
it's
for
a
anybody
monopoly
else.
problem.
It's a monopoly kind of problem, and this is not going to end. Believe you me, I even told Usis Koni when I was speaking to her that, look, don't be surprised next time when I'm sitting on Anele's couch and I'm talking about your company in a bad light, because the space that you occupy, do you know what I mean? They're the only ones. So everybody who's got a problem at that space, it has a problem with them.
Because this is the fifth week in a row where there's constantly stories coming out. It just feels like there's a bit of a witch hunt going on.
And the reality is that, I mean, our landscape right now in terms of productions and talent is a bit murky. Talents feel like they're being exploited. Producers feel like what they're getting from the channels is not enough for them to compensate actors the way that they want to be compensated and all that stuff.
All right, so quickly, we've got a minute and a half left.
Yeah.
Speaking of talent, the director from Mubango says that if you do not have a degree, you will not get hired on Mubango.
Yeah.
Which is another thing that the Fergusons are also fighting, because they're constantly being slated for hiring Instagram celebrities and slay queens. What's your take on that?
My take on that is that I don't agree with that, because if that were the case, I wouldn't be sitting here with you.
I wouldn't be sitting here either.
I'm one person who I don't have any tertiary qualification, but I managed to kind of like create a career for myself, and I've got people like you giving me an opportunity.
Yeah.
Look, I agree that not everybody should be called an actor.
Yes.
I think if there's an effort to hone your craft and there's an effort to be an actor, then get that opportunity. But we shouldn't just be looking at Instagram and Instagram followers and Twitter followers and call those people actors. But however, to close that door and say that if you don't have a degree, this space is not is limited to you, I don't agree with that, and it's going to backfire
dangerous.
very badly.
We had Ndate Jerry Mufokeng here, and he said, Wamacheta, he said that, you know, if you have a degree and you're a thespian and you're trained, you can play the same role 10 different ways.
Exactly.
If you don't, you could be talented and you could be very good at that. But if I've seen you once, I've seen you forever. And for me, that made sense. And I also feel like, yes, the people with followers can be used as marketing and hype to get people to the show, but ultimately the talented ones and the learned ones and the thespians will keep them there. But you do need the vehicles, the people who just move a scene from scene to scene.
And TV is evolving, and linear television is not there anymore. People are watching TV in different platforms. So when they've got people that they can relate to, people that they can have conversations with on different platforms while they're watching you on television, what's wrong with that if those people then transition from that space into television? The issue, like I said earlier on, is when there's no effort to even try and respect the craft, then I will say, no, you shouldn't be in that space. But when this is done in a way that respects the craft and the people that are getting in are honing they're not just getting in as just, you know,
and they're getting better.
And they're getting better.
There's no ways I can see you 3 years' time and you're still doing the same thing.
Just to end it off, it's like in South Africa, you know, you need to have multiple revenue streams. Do you understand? Are you just saying that, telling Phil that, Phil, you can only blog and not be on TV because TV is reserved for these people? No, then I'm going to starve. You know, if we are in this media space or this television space, there are many ways that we're going to try and explore our revenue streams.
Phil, as always, insightful, entertaining, engaging with a better spice. Always a pleasure chatting to Phil. You can follow the latest news and entertainment on his blog, details on the screen. After the break, as part of Monday Motivation, we look at agribusiness, agripreneurship, and how you can get farming. Come back to us. It has become a known fact that the farming population is aging. Agri-SA estimates that the average age of a farmer in South Africa is 62 years old. But today, a number of black people, including women, are switching city living for farming. One such woman is Nono Sikhoto, who left a successful career in the financial industry to work as a farmer in the family business. She is one of a growing number of young black South Africans who are trading the boardroom for the field. Her family farm is about 240 head of beef cattle and 260 dairy cows and supplies retailers such as Woolworths. The farm also produces maize, sunflowers, and has an apple orchard exporting apples to Nigeria. She's also the co-founder of an organization that promotes youth employment in agriculture, growth shoots, and a member of the National Executive Council of the African Farmers Association of South Africa. Her dream to change the face of agriculture as we know it. We welcome onto the show this trailblazer, Nono Sikhoto. Thank you for your time.
No, thanks for inviting me. Found it very exciting.
So when they say you switch the city life for the farm, it kind of sounds like, you know, you went from Joburg to Amish in the city. Is it that dramatic?
Well, I guess in the sense, if you really like the city, it will feel like that. But for someone like me, it was okay. It was a new experience, but you got to learn a lot. You know, you don't focus on all the surroundings in terms of the dust or the fact that there's no Woolies around the corner or something like that. But it's really about the information that you learn on a daily basis that you've just never had access to before.
This is what I want to know. I'm so glad you touched on it because you say information, right? Now, information we can all learn. You can pick up a paper and you can learn, and you can either read to understand or read to get by, but you can all put it in our heads, right? But I've always believed that when it comes to agriculture, when it comes to green, you need a certain touch. Now, can that touch be taught?
Now, that's very interesting because I'm not the touchy type of person.
Okay.
So I came in with a business mind. I needed to run a commercial farm and I needed to know how that is done. So I needed to learn, one, the business aspects of it, as well as the production. So I'm not necessarily out in the field, I'm in the office. Who runs the office? I'm the one calling the clients. I'm the one calling the marketers. Do you understand? So I'm the one in the office, literally doing the finances and on email.
Which is actually where it would lack, because it's passion, right?
Yes.
If I'm too busy growing the apples and the mealies and the green peppers, and I'm there digging, when it comes to numbers and chasing clients and making the meetings and acquiring the orders, you have to have a financial background.
Absolutely. So for me, I think what was also, I was in a lucky position because I arrived on a commercial farm that was already working. So there were already workers, there was already a production manager, so people were already doing what was supposed to be done. What I needed to understand is how to add value on what is already working.
Elevate.
And so my value was literally running this more on a business level and making the office a little bit more efficient.
But is it not tricky and difficult? Because that's the challenge then. Who is this girl coming on here to tell us how to run things? Because now you're obviously saying you can't plant 4 seeds, plant 2, we're going to get the same results. Because now you're looking at margins as well. You're bringing the business mind into it.
Absolutely. So what I did is when I arrived on the farm, the first thing I did to learn, I literally walked with them on the farm. I literally sat behind and said, show me what you do every day. I know nothing, and I said nothing for a good 6 months, just asking questions, understanding.
That's a good approach.
And then when I was like, okay, I see where we can, make things better.
Yeah.
And so by the time they'd obviously gotten a bit of trust in the fact that I'm here to help. And then when we bring out financial statements and I make plans, I bring them in, even those that are not in about finance. But I need them to understand that if I'm making a loss, in my papers, it trickles down to them. And also because when I arrived at our farm, the farm workers were also like beneficiaries of the actual company, which meant they were also shareholders. So I needed them to understand at that level.
That this is your stake.
This is your stake, and it starts right from your work at the bottom. So.
Okay, so moving from the finance sector and onto the farm, is it something where you're going to work every day and you're there, you're working with the books and finance, and it's in the back of your mind and it just grows and grows and grows and grows? Or was it you know what, let me go work there?
Oh, so my father had been nagging me for a while. Come help me, and so I was helping him a bit on the side.
Yeah.
But then it was really a move for me to find something that kind of moved me, something that inspired me more. Where I was, it was interesting at the time, but at some point I was like, I need to find something else. So that push came from me. And it's always better if that happens because I was there eager to learn because I'd literally given up my whole life to start a brand new life. And so I was open to learning and just finding out what to do. And I just could not have ever imagined what, what I could have found.
So was it easier for you because you were going to work on your father's farm and one that had already been a commercial farm? It just needed your elevation and you to upgrade it and you to streamline it.
Yes, I think in now that I know all the other farmers and how they've started and how they get in, I believe I had a much easier learning ground, so you can say. Because I had a set salary, that was something I negotiated with my father. I said, you are going to pay me. And I'm telling you, he did not miss even 1 month.
Okay.
And I was there for 6 years. Right now, I've shifted to kind of do my own things. And so I'm the one creating my own, income streams. But I'm telling you, when I was working for my father, he made sure that I got paid. So if
there's
I
one of
listen,
those, but I gave you pocket money when you were 2 years old.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that's the reason why a lot of the young farmers are struggling to stay on the farms because their parents can't really afford them, so to speak. And so as a growing young adult, you need your own income to be able to do your own things and also just to feel confident and do and literally just chart your life. And so I find that that was to me the one biggest factor about young farmers on farms.
Yes, yeah.
The lack of income.
Growth Shoot. Now, this is another program of yours that you've started. Please walk me through that.
Okay, so as I said, the whole aspect of understanding what young farmers are struggling with, Grow Shoot came up with that idea. How do we help young farmers, such as myself, to be able to be in a position to, one, be able to earn income, to stay on the farm and still be able to help their families. Because most of us, the land actually belongs to our parents. Some, right now you can see there are others who have rented out and stuff, which is great, but there's a big chunk of youngsters who are there to help their folks. So it's really about how do you encourage them and give them access to all the farmer support that our current farmers are actually struggling with.
But if it's a business for you, what you're doing then is allowing your competitor to grow off your expertise.
Myself. So that's actually interesting. Farmers work better together.
Ah.
That is how our
girl.
big farmers
Sorry.
work.
Wait for me while I give you a...
No, I'm being serious.
Okay.
If you think about all the big farmers today, the reason they've done so well is because they were able to collaborate and share costs. And that's why the big cooperatives actually exist, like the Agris.
Yeah.
Agri-SA would also literally put that together to be able to inform their farmers where are the other farmers, come together and actually share costs.
Yeah.
And also like create opportunities to open up bigger markets. So those little things are the reasons why you really need to, come together to share experiences. You have no idea how many things that you are dealing with that someone else has dealt with before. Imagine if instead of you trying to figure it out, someone can be like, no, I've done that before. So you need to foster a togetherness, so to speak, in the farming community.
All right, no. So when we go out of the city to relax, we're like, oh, I'm just going to go to the farm for peace and quiet. Where does a person who lives on a farm go for peace and quiet?
You're in peace and quiet the whole time.
So then do you then come to the hustle and the bustle of the city?
That's what I do. So if I need to focus and do a lot of work, because I said I do quite a lot of work in the industries, not just the farm, I need to be on the farm.
Okay.
Because I don't drive much, I'm not in traffic, I don't have people calling to be like, let's hang out. I'm at work. And so if I'm in the city, it's a totally different setup. It's buzzy, it's a buzz the whole time.
All right, you're fascinating. I'm now so interested. Listen, Nono Sekgotla will be back a little bit later in the show. That's all we have time for with her for now. On the way, we meet another agripreneur whose interest is building a thriving agricultural business. You want to come back for this? It's not every day that somebody transformed their backyard into a center for agribusiness. As a young girl growing up in Ebony Park, Nonkululeko Britain Masikela appreciated the vast tracts of land overlooking her home until she learned how to grow food organically and in a sustainable way, turning the whole experience into her agribusiness. What started off as an economic experiment to spend less on groceries by growing her own food, Nonkululeko has successfully turned the experiment into something worth noting, swapping her pen for the shovel. She joins us now to tell us about her journey. Nonku was working on radio shows, producing digital work. So you decide, you know what, I'm tired of spending this much money on vegetables. I'm gonna plant them myself.
Yes.
Okay.
So
You start obviously with like a little box of sand.
basically,
Yeah.
so in my backyard, I had a 2x2 square meter side. I mean, it's literally
Nothing.
two sides
Yeah.
of this table. And I thought, I'm gonna plant spinach. But I didn't start with the idea of planting spinach to grow there. I started with the idea of planting the spinach to grow on my parents' backyard, which is a much bigger space
This is
where I grew up. Yes.
Yeah.
And because I'd seen that part of the land growing up, until I actually did a business course, I didn't see the profitability of that land.
So when do you do the business course? After you started growing the spinach or before?
So before.
All right.
Before. I had been growing things in my backyard.
For yourself?
Like lettuce and herbs for myself. But I hadn't seen the potential that space could actually create for own consumption, but also for commercial consumption. So grew seedlings in my backyard and would take them to Midrand, where my parents are. And literally what I would grow in my backyard had transformed into about 1,000 square meters of spinach. And that's where I could see that actually
It could be quite profitable.
and it's not just the question of like how much land do you have, it's about what you do with it.
Yes, because you said that. You said access to land is not enough. More needs to be done. Unpack
Yes.
that for me.
So there I was talking about the challenges that, so now fast forward to, I've started my own little small scale farm and now I'm meeting with other farmers because small scale means that you can't possibly plant enough. But if you are smart about it, you can collaborate with others. Thank you so much, Nono, for talking about collaboration because that's really all we can do to make sure that we have enough And so collaborate with other farmers to actually create a variety of produce that I can package and distribute to your Anele or anyone else who wants to eat a little bit better, but also not at retail prices.
So outside of collaboration, because, and this is now for any business and not necessarily just agriculture. So you were planting the spinach for yourself and your family, and then you realize, oh my word, there's so much more, let me start selling, and then you'd bring it to work, and then we would buy from you, 30 rand there, lots of spinach, go home. So now it's always the conversion, right? So going from just yourself converted to people at work at your 9 to 5. Then you realize, wait, there's lots more money to be made here.
Absolutely.
Then you convert it so that then you start growing on your parents' farm, right?
Right.
Then, I mean, now, obviously, what's the next conversion? Where do you want to go with this? Are you wanting to supply the big chains, you know, the big retailers, the supermarkets, and what's the road to there?
So I've actually found my market. I really enjoy the fact that people can access real food in a much quicker way. It's delivered to that, so I deliver it to your doorstep.
Okay.
Or to your office. I've done that on a little bit of a bigger scale, so I can actually package a lot more than what I used to do when I used to give you guys spinach. You can pick from a list that I will send to you, and from that list you say what you need, and I will deliver it to you. And obviously there's certain delivery days, etc., and there's boundaries which I can't deliver at right now. But the next level is to be able to deliver wherever in Gauteng. And then to actually start looking at, can I deliver to your office, and then get like a whole lot of people,
a lot of orders,
but also have offices look at this as a really important step for people's productivity, because what you eat, how you feel, is part of it. Just like they have gyms in the offices, they should be able to give you a subsidy for fresh produce that comes to your office.
Okay, so there was a point when I was reading about you, and you said you were burning a hole in your 9 to 5 salary because you were financing yourself. So and you say the investment came at just the right time. Now, when you were busy burning a hole in your own money to get this going, this is her fruit, by the way. What were you hoping for when this money comes in? The first thing I'm going to do is.
So to be perfectly honest, I had not thought about how much I would need to actually start it. Like I said, it was all an experiment. So everything that I was doing was growing organically. And so putting in my own money also was just like, whoa, and now I need this. Oh, and then I need that.
When you say now you need this, what are one of the things that you would need?
So for instance, the first thing obviously was the labor, because I couldn't be on the farm all the time. I had a 9 to 5, right? And still have a 9 to 5, by the way.
Good girl.
So part of it was I need to finance this thing. So pay salaries, and then you need the inputs. So the seeds, the compost, etc. And then you need to start looking at what else to do with all of that, you know. So then you need to also think sustainably. So the borehole, which is something I also financed myself. In collaboration with my dad, we were like, okay, water is a problem. So we need to look at what does it actually cost to use water versus actually investing in a borehole. So we finance the borehole, we're financing the irrigation system, and we keep going. But what's interesting is that over time, especially if you do it in a sustainable way, everything should actually go back into the actual business. So when you buy seeds, organic seeds, you actually are buying them once off, unless you need a different variety, because that seed in that green pepper are seeds that I will be able to save
to reuse,
and actually use again, and they will grow again. So it's about thinking of all of that as part of an investment. So from the seed itself to the water to the composting. Now we use cow manure, which is from the cows on the farm, to actually feed into the soil. I've got friends with chickens. We use chicken manure to fertilize the soil, and we use the groundwater now, and now actually looking at other ways to try and be more sustainable. And we're within the urban space, so we're actually, even delivering doesn't consume that much energy and effort.
But obviously, and quickly, we're out of time, but obviously when you deliver, shouldn't your trucks have those things that spray water so that everything keeps fresh and all of that? Isn't that where you headed?
No, because it's coming straight from the farm, which is a 5-kilometer radius to your doorstep, which is another 5-kilometer radius.
So it's literally
from
out of
here
the
to there.
sand, out of the soil into my hands.
Absolutely. And yes, when we grow bigger, when we start going, okay, we're going outside of the 5-kilometer radius, then we'll get cold storage. And now there's networks of people who do have such, and we'll just like in-source it.
Nonku, as always, fascinated by you. Nonkululeko is reaping the years of farming on a small scale, proving that it does not matter how small you start, but you can get people talking about food security and sustainable living. She will join us later. We have another conversation about the land. On the other side of this, we focus on the opportunities and challenges in the agricultural sector for aspiring young farmers. You can also weigh in on the subject. Drop us a WhatsApp voice note on your experiences in getting into the agribusiness. Is government doing enough to support black farmers? These questions will get answers after the break. Please. And welcome back. Whether you are a new entrant into agribusiness or have an existing farm, funding remains one of the top concerns for starting and growing an agribusiness. Many young farmers get into the business with minimum support, little to no farming skills, and poor access to finance and markets. And unlike young white farmers, most of the black farmers get on the farms with no one to guide and mentor them. So how do we secure the future of emerging farmers? I'm now joined by the acting DDG of Natural Resources Management in the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development in Gauteng. We're welcome to Real Talk, Loyiso Mkhwana.
Thank you, Anele.
Now, all my viewers are like, the guy who's with agriculture, what a suit, man. We thought you'd be out here like in your overalls and your spade and everything.
No, remember, we must facilitate. We must make that economy work, and we must make it happen.
Okay, exactly.
Okay.
Now, this is what I want to talk to you about. I don't know much about this, but is the same program, and not program is a bad way to put it, are the same systems put in place for agriculture as, say, the mining industry and the media industry, where the government says there has to be transformation, otherwise it will never happen?
Oh, definitely, they are, okay? Within Gauteng, we talk about transformation, we talk about modernization, and then we talk about reindustrialization. Here's the stats, Anele. There's about 30,000 farmers in the country who produce all the food we consume. There's only about 10 companies that process it, and there's about 5 retailers where you actually get that food. And that's for a population of around about 60 million and some odds. So unless we then deal between the production and the consumption, which is the food processing as well as the retailing, which is where then the transformation comes. We then say to farmers that we have programs. We have a program called Farmer Support Development. Okay, we don't give handouts. We're not in the business of handouts. We need to make sure that you are a proper farmer. You are in the business of production. We therefore then start you with soil science. We start you with development of a business plan, because it is important that you understand the business that you are into. And the previous speakers, Nono and Nonku, spoke in detail about it's a business out there.
So I couldn't think, oh, wow, look at that. Every time someone eats a salad, they're having a tomato. I am going to be a tomato farmer because that's where the money is at. Then I come to you guys and say, can I have, what do I come? Do I say, can I have funding? Can I have land? Can I have training?
What we found is that in order to attract private finance into agriculture, you must have the basic infrastructure. So that's where then the state comes in. We will then, let's say, for example, you want to produce chicken, poultry, okay? So we must assist you with broiler infrastructure. That's probably around about a $1 million infrastructure. We must assist you with feed. That's roughly around about just less than a $500,000, maybe 450K or 390K. That's the stage at which a private finance is not attractive to your production. Because private finance, you need to demonstrate that you can produce, you need to demonstrate that you've got markets, and that is where we assist. So we assist you with your basic infrastructure, we assist you with the science part in terms of the extension and advisory services. So each farmer gets, in fact, per region, there are 3 regions in the province, an extension advisor Somebody
And is this
who's going to be
advisor-
there
Yeah.
to say, okay, this is how you feed the chicken. This is now time to vaccinate. It's too cold out there. You need to increase the temperature or reduce the temperature.
So
which
is there
is
a
where
transformation
yes.
of information from the existing farmers
Correct.
to the new ones?
Correct. Not just also information, also technology deployment. In terms of newer technology, we could have assisted you with newer advancement. For example, we have a research capacity in the department on biotechnology. So we could be, for example, looking into new and weed-resistant and drought-resistant maize cultivars. So that's when then this person comes and say, this is a different maize. You don't have to treat it with this kind of pesticides or chemical. You've got to treat it with a different chemical. So from the beginning, we then walk that journey with yourself, but you must then take the active lead, which is something that the department says that we don't want. These are limited public funds. We don't want to throw them into a failing process and a project.
Okay, so the discussion currently happening is definitely about the land and, you know, are we going to get the land? And then the discussion that is coming against, you know, the whole land, you know, the new land, is it a law, is it passed? Is that, no, but we don't know what, you guys don't know what to do with the land. What would you do with this? What's your feeling on that? Because you actually work with the land.
We actually have so many requests for land. Okay, so whilst at the province we don't have the authority, we actually part of a provincial steering committee on applications which are processed by another department, which is the Rural Development and Land Affairs, Rural Development. So in terms of that, we will then be able to motivate and say this applicant is requesting for land. We've looked into their business plan. It looks to us a viable business plan, and therefore we support it. In addition, Anele, we've just done a phase 1 study on the land ownership within the province and said, okay, let's try and understand who owns what in the province, and specifically the public land, because that's your immediately available land. Because there you're not talking about expropriation without compensation. So we then did this study, and it indicated to us around about 11% of the province is what is referred to as unaccounted for land. Now, that's a land, if you go to Surveyor General, there are no deeds, documents, there is no owners of this land. So that's an immediate available land when then the state talks about expropriation, but within the constitutional imperatives, as the president has announced. So it's not that we don't know what to do with the land. There's quite a lot of demand in the land.
So there's no fear, because, you know, there's this narrative rhetoric, you know, if you take the land, then you're not going to have food because you guys don't know how to farm. And I'm like, whoa, whoa.
The president has been very, very clear that the issue of expropriation of land must be within the constitution. It must not impede food production. So what we're then doing, we're doing exactly what Nonku is now beginning to talk about and say, we must look into our urban spaces and not see farms as out there in the hinterland. We then begin to talk about urban agriculture. We then say, how can we look into what we have? And what we have in Gauteng, plenty of buildings, plenty of rooftops. How can we convert those rooftops into actually urban food gardens? And there's quite already a small work that we are doing in Braamfontein together with our partners and the municipality around there.
Gee, okay, listen, we continue this conversation. On the other side of this, we will be joined by Nonku as well as Nono, who are in the farming business. We had a chat with them earlier. You may be one of those excited about the new land reform proposal, but don't know where to start. This conversation is for you. Send us those WhatsApp voice notes. What questions do you have? How can we put you at ease? Come back. And welcome back to Real Talk for the last time today. If you just joined us, you're late, but today we're looking at opportunities for emerging farmers and what challenges they have. And I just want to point to this here basket, basin, bowl of vegetables. These are real, okay? These are not props. And to show you that they're not props, I'm going to bite into it, but I'm going to play a voice note so that I can have time to... delicious. From Nonku. Raw voice note.
Hello, Anele. I just want to find out from the lady that you're speaking to. is it necessary for someone to have like degrees and masters and stuff and farming and stuff in order to have your own farm and stuff? Like in order to run your own farm, if you have the experience, for instance, like you've worked in a farm.
Okay, you are nodding, so I'm going to come straight to you, Nono. Is it necessary to have a degree when you want to go into farming?
Not necessarily. You need to learn the skills that you need to work. So you need the business skills to understand how to run a business. And then you also need the skills of your production. So if you already have experience and you know some things about farming, that's a plus. But you probably should go to someone to help you so that you can be efficient and to actually be able to increase your yields and so forth.
Nonku,
So-
in the absence of a degree, right? Because you don't have a degree in farming.
No, I don't.
In the absence of that, what is it that you must have?
You must read.
You must have.
It's like anything, you need
must
to
read.
read. The information is actually all out there. Like even the information they teach at school, you can get online. It helps to get on the farm. So once you get on the farm, my experience is that once you're on the farm and you see the entire production line, you're actually able to find what your interest is in. And so if it's in the business side of things, then you're able to specialize or go further and go into business. Rather study the business of agriculture than actually studying agriculture, because there you'll study the entire spectrum. Look, if you want to specialize on the entire production, say from the business end or from the production end to the business end, including the logistics, then you want to go get a degree or a qualification in agriculture. But if you're interested in just the crop production or the farming, I suggest you go onto the farm, see what even in there's still specialization. Are you interested in soil management? Are you interested in the engineering part of it, i.e. the irrigation systems, etc.? Or are you interested in the other side of the food chain, the actual packaging of it?
Loiso, now I don't have a degree. How when I come towards the department, how do you tell if I'm serious and I'm not? Because like you were saying, it's a lot of money to invest in something that's not going to be fruitful. Excuse that pun. So how do you assess me? How do you know that I know what I'm talking about?
Look, from the beginning, we don't look at your qualifications. We look at your commitment and your passion to the business, which is the agriculture. But importantly, Anele, we train about 600 farmers per annum in Gauteng. We train 10 on commercial farming. Now, commercial farming is what Nonku was talking about.
Yeah.
Now, from production, and you look into the entire value chain. You're looking into production, you're looking into marketing, and then you're looking into opportunities, export opportunities. So that's now the commercial farmer. But there you must already have a footprint. We must have a look at your production capability. We must have a look at your current infrastructure. Then we then say you're ready to be a commercial farmer.
Yeah.
Let's then give you that push and position you so that you are market oriented. But in return, we actually assist even people who have got no basic skills, because we are a government of inclusive economy. So we can't exclude people.
Yeah.
So we will train you, like she's saying, on piggery, as an
Yes.
example, how to produce pigs. And that is an accredited training, but it's focused. That's what we're teaching you, how to, but then we still support you with vets, who will then deal with the science part, which may not be there. So we have got a community vets program, in addition to the extension officer, who is also saying to you every day, this is how, for example, to produce pigs.
No, could you be getting more support from government when it comes to opening up now the markets that you are telling the end result, the people who are buying from you, that they need to come to buy more from black-owned farms?
Yes, if you look at the legislation, right, with
Yeah.
regards to BE policies,
Yeah.
that's already one way, right? So the businesses are actually kind of forced to find ways to participate with small businesses. That's us in our industry. And so the government already has given them those tools. It's also up to us to also come out and kind of like just, make ourselves visible, because the big companies are like, they seem very far away, and it's a bit hard for them to reach everyone. So it's also important for you as a farmer to actually find organized structures like the AFASAs, which is, where I'm at, to be able to connect you as well with structured businesses that can assist you as farmers. So if you want to be in a structured way, I mean, Nonku is doing it on her own. So she's literally just kind of figuring it out as she goes. But if you want to get into those formal markets, you've got to find ways and channels for those big markets to find you.
Nonku, literally wrapping it up, I think, for you, she's way up there because she's commercial, so people feel like, when am I going to get to Nono? But you're here and you're closer. How important is it for people to consider this as a proper channel that they could do? Just growing your own food so that you can feed yourself and your family, and then even just selling it even on a small scale that you are.
Look at it this way, and it's always been the case growing up. Right now, vegetables are actually a luxury for some people. And I'm not even talking about organically grown. I'm not entirely sure why we pay more for organically grown vegetables, like the real stuff. But the fact of the matter is, food is becoming an issue. And it's been an issue for a long time, but food insecurity is a big deal and it's not real for everybody until you get into the actual food production space. But what you see is that people are actually going hungrier and hungrier, and it's not that the unavailability of food is there, but it's the good stuff, the things that actually make us live longer. So it's become a necessity for us to look at how do we actually produce our own food. And every single item of vegetable or fruit has a seed in it that you can plant, that you can get another few more vegetables.
So if you got it, you can get more of it.
Please, go to YouTube, go online, go to a library, go to your local municipality, ask them, how do I grow my own food? There's no need for us to be hungry.
Thank you so much, Nonku. Thank you for your time. Louisa, thank you for your time. Nono, thank you for your time. Wishing you all the best. That's all we have time for. Hope you've been inspired by our guests, who are great examples of what a black farmer can do if they have access to the right resources. We'll be back tomorrow exploring the web of lies that can damage a relationship. Same time, same place. From myself and the rest of the team. SABC 3, goodbye.